What's going on, world? It's Mr. Dreams to Reality, Coach Ford here. I wanted to jump on and talk to you about uh, New Year's resolutions and why those don't work. In fact, if you wrote one, throw it out and start working on 2026. And the reason why I say this is because you're not looking at what you're going to do in this very moment, right? It feels good when you have a moment of motivation, the New Year's kicking around, you're like, I'm ready to do this thing. And what I need you to understand is if you're going to create this resolution or you're going to say, okay, hey, this year I'm going to work on something, let's look at it. Sure, it's a good short term objective, but how much thought did you really put into it? And I think most of the times, and I'm one of those people, and I've done this, is I'll do something. I'm like, I'm going to knock this out. I think this would be a great idea. And it turns out to be just a moment of, I feel like, and not a moment of, am I actually going to do this thing that I said I was going to do? Am I going to stay committed to what I said I was going to accomplish this year or the thing that I want to see for my own life in 2025? And so I would say throw that one out and let's look at a 3-year vision. What does your vision look like? What does your life look like? How does it feel? What does it look like? What are you hoping to accomplish? What are the things you hope to see done within the 3-year time frame? Sure, there's some things that, like this year, one of my thing is to get all the bad debt, starting to work on a plan to get the bad debt off my books and to be a better steward with money, right? Am I going to have it all paid off by the end of the year? That is my hope. But it's not going to be done January 1st, right? It's not going to be done just because it's 2025. We're talking about if you've been around any length of time on this earth, you develop some habits, you develop some core things that we're going to have to break, and you're going to have to break those things. And that should be your first thing is what are the habits that I formed? What are the things that I do consistently every single day? And a lot of it is going to be that I feel I don't want to do. I know I have to start working on my taxes, and that's not something I'm very fond of. Doing taxes is not fun, but it's part of the process of being business owner. It's part of the process of, what we paid the golden goose, as Jim Rohn would say, pay the goose that lays the golden egg. That pays for the infrastructure and all the other stuff in America that we enjoy. And sure, I'm not going to go into the rant of things that we think are being done with funds and all that stuff. That's not what I'm here for. Let that be Elon or somebody else that's going to talk about those things. All right. Hear what I'm talking about for my 3-year vision for my podcast, right? One, I want to build an engaged audience. It's not going to happen January 1st. It's not going to happen today, right? That's something I've been building since last February. So now I can look back and say, okay, where have I grown since I started my podcast? Where have I grown since content monetization? And look at those numbers every single day and say, okay, how can we get better? How can we push the metrics? How can I produce better content? How can I be a better person of my word? How can I be better at what I said I'm going to do? And I'm getting much better at starting to say no, or hey, I'm not going to do that. I'm really not engaged in that, and I'm not going to be engaged in that, so I'm not going to do that. And I think it's important that you don't try taking on too much at one time. Ask behind no, right? Done this, right? I've been there. I've done too much. I opened a kiosk right at the start of the school year, going into basketball season, and it was just too much. And it was good in theory, but there was a lot of things that I need to learn and grow and develop and get better at. And so, as a business owner, you learn to pivot. You learn to say, okay, what is working well? What things do I need to get better at? Right? So for my focus for in my 3-year vision is to really build an audience on Instagram, right, and YouTube. But my main social media platform is Facebook, and that's where my audience engages with me the most at. And so it's important that I stick to the winning formula, right? And I know I have to master YouTube, but the engagement that I get on Facebook is better. But I know the long term. So listen to what I say. I know the long term strategy is going to be YouTube. And because of that, I'm sitting here saying, okay, how do we grow and develop as myself as an individual? So once basketball season's over, I got a ton of books that I want to get into, and there's a lot that I want to get into. And so then there's spring basketball season that rolls around, but it's not as much as demanding during the week, which is nice, as it is this high school basketball season where we have 2 or 3 games a week, and we have practice and we have prep and we have film sessions, and we have to do all these things, right? And not to have to, we get the opportunity to get better as individuals. We get an opportunity to improve who we are as individuals, not necessarily getting better for the scoreboard's sake or the win and loss column, but getting better as who we are as individuals. Are we growing? Are we developing in the process? Are we taking where we were at the start of the year and getting better each week in each game? And I believe we start to do that. And so I need people to treat their life that way. You know, uh, why wake up every single day and not be intentional? Just put it on autopilot. Okay, same thing. I gotta go work. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And there's no. And what's the intentions? Like, how do you improve as individuals? How do you improve your status in life? How do you improve these areas? And that's a really important question, because the better you get at these things, the better your life will be. The more you can see things, the more you're aware, the more you say, okay, that didn't work out so well. What can I do to be better here? Or this didn't work out well. What can I do to be better here? Or this didn't do well. What can I do to be better here? And engaging those conversations and trusting in, okay, I think I can grow here. I think I can get better. I think uh, the resolution that I set out, I had good intentions, but maybe that's not necessarily the thing that I need to do. And so for me, my number one focus over the next 3 years from a personal perspective is getting bad debt off, increasing from a professional business perspective, increasing my revenue and income, and getting to where I'm profiting. My main focus is profit. How do I profit in my life? How do I create a bigger impact? Because it's setting up for the bigger play, which is the Kingdom Financial Center and then the Ford X Vision Center. And the Ford X Vision Center will help fund the Kingdom Financial Literacy Center. And you know what this will do will help expand God's kingdom here on earth, and really help impact and touch people's lives. And that's the most important thing that I can do is live a life that pleases God and serves other people. And so by doing that, we need resources and we have to have visions. And that's why I say the resolution is really hard for me to get down with now, because I set it at the end of the year with no thought, and you never reflected on the year, right? I think most of the times, I think what people should do is reflect first over the year, reflect over the years, take time to write it out, talk it out, turn on the camera, have a discussion, and then say, okay, what has gone well? What is getting better? Where did I start? Where I'm at now? Where can we go? And and I'm sure people isn't gonna love this statement by who it's from, but it's still accurate. Is Bill Gates? He says we underestimate we overestimate what we can do in a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And that's a really profound statement, because it's really true. And I've been there, and I look back over the 7 years that I've been at the school that I'm working at, and I thought in year one I'm going to do all these things, and that didn't pan out. Year two, I thought I was going to do all these things, and now sitting here going into the 7th year of being here, I'm looking at, okay, let's get a 3-year vision. I want to see what this looks like in 3 years. I want to know what this feels like. I want to craft that 3-year vision and saying, okay, this is the momentum that we're building and growing towards, and this is where we have to go. And I thank God for restoring my ability to see this and to give me clear direction on what I was missing as an individual. So I thank Jesus for stepping in and helping me, and really help show me how I can help God's kingdom and how I can progress the kingdom forward and how we can do all these things. And so it's really important. And so the next steps for me is pulling out the vision and refine the vision. And every single day I have to be careful that I'm not adding more to the vision and then sticking towards the vision. So my New Year's resolution, and I'm just saying this for people, but I don't have one, is I'm going to reflect. I'm going to look back and say, okay, I've done some things that people didn't think I could do. I'm still pushing past the need for permission, right? I believe, and I know we live in a permission-based era still, where people believe I got to have permission from this guy or that person, or I need permission from uh, whoever to do things. Now, you do need a permission in terms of paying for services for other people, but you don't necessarily need permission from your boss or CBS or Netflix or anybody to produce your talent in the world. And I think that's so important. I think it's important, and I know it's important, to be able to push past your first belief in yourself, right? You got to push past the first belief in yourself. And then you have to push past your environment of people that are telling you, nah, you can't do that. Why do you want to do that? You shouldn't do this. You don't do that. And then I posted something on my social media the other day. People were like, I know people don't like me. I know people don't like my decision making. I know people don't like that I post a lot. I know people don't like the way that I talk. I know this. I know people don't like my demeanor, that they don't like my confidence, they don't like the way I carry myself, and I don't care about those things. That's their problem. I can only be the person God has called me to be, and live in that. And I challenge you to live in that, and I challenge you to get around people and get into our vision center, Ford X Vision Center. It's not about eyewear. I know it's interesting play on words. Ford X Visions, Ford X Vision Center, and understanding that we're going towards the future. We're marching towards the future. We're marching towards a direction of what do we need to do to be better. And so, I have clients, I have a handful of clients I work with as far as basketball training goes. And it's important for me that I help them establish who they are as individuals. It's important that I help them establish some parameters of this is where we're going. This is the vision that I have for you. And, help them develop their own vision. My vision for every single basketball player that's in youth is to be prepared for junior high to be prepared for varsity. And if you want to go to college, great. We'll get you on that track and we'll help you develop and train. But, it comes down to habits. I have this thing on my desk that somebody gave me, Winning is a Habit by Vince Lombardi. And it's true. It's very true. And it's things that you need to say, okay, what are my habits? What kind of habits have I formed today? Where am I going? And I think the biggest thing, and I'm not going to say I keep thinking, I know some of the things that people struggle with are habits, right? The worst habit is comfort. The worst habit is wanting to be consistent and wanting life to be just level and no changes. Why can't you wake up every single day and it just be the same? Well, me personally, I struggle with that. I'm like, no, I don't want to be on autopilot. I want to be intentional every single day. And I want to wake up and say, how do I move the needle forward? And you're probably thinking, well, isn't a 3-year vision kind of an autopilot thing? It's really not. It's really hard to craft out this plan and have a vision for your life. It's really hard to craft out this plan and say, okay, how can I be consistent? It's really hard to craft out this vision and say, this is where I'm at and this is where I'm wanting to go and this is the journey that I'm on. And it's very different. And understanding that in all of these things that we have to accomplish, like right now, I just had a ton of intrusive thoughts come in my head. But I'm not going to let those things win. I'm going to plan, I'm going to map those out and say, okay, I know I need to make X amount this year. I know in 2025, me, not in my household total, but me personally, I have to make $100,000 and figure out how do I make that $100,000 and on my way to becoming a millionaire. And then beyond that, and I continue to say this in my videos. I'm going to continue to talk about it and build it up because I know it's there. I know it's possible. And so it's important. It's important that if nobody else believes, which you shouldn't worry about if anybody else believes, you rely on God only. No man or woman is your source. God is the source. What Jesus has done is the source. But, people make you believe that their opinions are valid and matters, and the only opinion that values and matters is God and what He says for you and what He does for your life, and so it's important. So this has been the latest edition of the Rise Above Potential podcast on why your New Year's resolutions suck, why you don't need to do them, and really you need to create a vision, have a 3-year vision. If you're already in a vision, don't change it. Continue to reflect. I would challenge you to reflect. If you're doing New Year's resolutions and they're not working, I recommend you start mapping out a 3-year vision. Just draw it out. Get a whiteboard, get a pencil and piece of paper, and say, okay, here's where we're at. This is where I want to go. This is what, for my family, we're looking at new homes, but I don't want to get rid of our current home. I want this home to be in our portfolio. And so it's important, don't just get rid of things because you want new stuff. That's not a need, right? Look at your portfolio. Be smart about these investments. Be smart. And that's something I hadn't been for the first 33 years of my life. And I feel really confident in the driver's seat today. And my hope is to help other people develop this understanding and focus and things that I didn't know at 23, I wasn't prepared for. but going into 34, halfway to 34 now, there's a lot of exciting things I look forward to, and I can't wait to grow and develop. Excuse me, I can't wait to grow and develop into those things. And do me a favor, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. I think my voice is going out there. Haven't done a podcast in forever. I've been doing like coaching on the sideline, so there's that. So do me a favor, like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. And I hope that y'all have a wonderful new year. New this year, my 3-year vision is the Vision Center and creating the Ford X Vision Center to help fund my financial literacy center, which will help people with financial education, financial literacy, and helping expand God's kingdom here on earth and through biblical principles and understanding God's economy as a commonwealth economy. So I hope that you have a wonderful day. Enjoy this episode. A frolic in the sun if you're in the sun. If you're in the Midwest, enjoy the sunny cloudiness that's going on out here. All right, and have a good day. Thanks, guys.